嗨，大家好，我是 Henry，
我是 Kurt。你现在收看那些你不知道没关系，早知道就好的事 ，AK 那没事。
那没事的话，不对，今天我们很有事，今天我们收到香港微软的邀请，来参加他们1年1度的旗舰 event AI Tour。
我们今天除了会看各种各样的展览，跟听各种各样的演讲之外呢，我们还受邀可以访问一下他们的 Corporate Vice President Nirav Shah。那他最主要其实是负责 Dataverse 这边的事情。今天他会跟我们聊一下，他觉得 AI agent 跟年轻的关系是怎么样，我们自己可以怎么自处。
那温馨提醒一下，这一集的访谈会是全英文的访谈，那大家可以试着听听看。如果真的听不懂也没关系，我们下一周会再出一个用国语跟大家 react 跟 recap 的一个方式，来告诉大家我们两个在这次访谈当中的一些收获。那就请大家拭目以待咯。All right. So, hello audience, hello everyone on the internet. So this is Henry.
I'm Kirsty.
Yeah. So today we are very honored to have this opportunity to invite our very valuable guest Nirav Shah to our show for the first time, and to talk about how agent and AI was going to shape how we work and the entire workplace. So let's welcome Nirav.
Yeah, well, thank you. So excited to be here. Hello, world.
Yeah, so we just chatted about what the purpose of our podcast is, right? Is to really to explain the people who are not in our world, in a tech world, to know how things work in here, right? So I guess my first question to you is, can you explain your role? Like, what is your job? We know that you're a corporate vice president in Microsoft, but what exactly does that mean in a tech world? And then, so what's your job? And can you explain more about like what things you're doing, the product you're working on?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So a lot of my job is really looking at the landscape of technology, what is the art of the possible, and taking that in conjunction with what are customers struggling with, what are they trying to solve, and how do we bring the two worlds together to really solve problems using the capabilities that technology provides. So in terms of something like Dataverse, what we're really focused on is how do we go support organizations and businesses build out and automate and leverage technology to drive greater benefit for what they're trying to achieve through the platforms that we're able to provide, through the security and data that exist across the organization. So a lot of our focus is really right now around, data, security, AI, bringing those together to solve organizational problems and making them successful.
I guess, since we're like introducing technology to non-tech people, so I catch one of the keywords that you might need a little bit explanation as what is Dataverse?
Yeah. So Dataverse today is really it is a trusted data platform for, business solutions that can really drive and run mission critical workloads across any organization. Business applications at Microsoft today, Dynamics 365, it's actually built on top of the Dataverse platform. And so what we've done is we've really took that core platform that we use internally as Microsoft to go build and deliver, enterprise grade mission critical workloads for businesses to run. It made that available for anyone to use for any custom solution that they're trying to build out.
So as the name stated, it's more like a universal data platform that everyone can use as securely. Can I understand that?
So it's had a few names in its lifetime, and we don't necessarily need to go through all of the misfits of names that we've had through the years, but really the reason we ended up using Dataverse as kind of that name is because it really supports the full breadth of any business data that you need to run an organization. Today, if you try to build out an application or a system across an organization, you have lots of different types of data. You've got relational data that's very structured and put together. You've got files with that's unstructured that requires a lot of human oversight to understand. You've got rich analytical data that you use to drive insights and visibility and decision making. And so what we've tried to do with Dataverse is actually bring together all of those different data platforms and capabilities and put them under one umbrella so that organizations can spend less time thinking about how to use the infrastructure and integrating them together and spending more time solving their business problems. So we've really spent a lot of time and energy abstracting away, similar to what we're talking about here, the technical complexity of using all of this, and instead focused on how do we empower anyone to really go start building solutions driven off that data quickly and easily.
Got it. And then speaking of, so I can only imagine now we're talking about like AI and especially agentic AI, right? And then we all know that AI works on data, right? So data is the key that AI can explain and then respond in a smart way, right? So how would you feel like in your position, like doing Dataverse, this all universal data platform? How exciting or how do you feel about the AI era is coming?
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that, right? Because like we talk about data being the fuel that really powers AI.
Yeah.
And if we think about what is possible with generative AI, this idea that it can actually plan and reason over complex situations, leveraging the data to really make decisions on how best to move a business process forward. It's a super exciting time in technology, both from what is the art of the possible and how data really gets elevated in this day and age of building out agents and leveraging generative AI. And so a lot of the work we've been doing is thinking about how do we transform those silos of data that exist across organizations and bring that to the AI through these agentic experiences such that we can break down barriers from all of those silos and empower organizations to make far richer and smarter decisions, leveraging the full breadth of knowledge that exists across their organization. And so one of the things we've spent a lot of time and energy on is really integrating all aspects of an organization's data estate and making that available inside of Copilot and agents, whether it's that personal productivity data, your emails, the documents that you've been interacting with and have written, the things that you've shared with your colleagues, your business data that's sitting in something like a CRM system, like Dynamics 365, or even external systems outside of the Microsoft estate through a really rich, broad connector ecosystem that we have inside of Microsoft. And by bringing all of this together and making it possible to use that inside of Copilot and agents, all of a sudden we're able to start breaking down a lot of those barriers and really making it possible to bring together personal productivity information and broader organization data and make that part of that decision-making process that AI can use.
So I can say that AI's the work that Microsoft is trying to do is to make AI more relevant to personal, or more relevant to your daily work, and more personal, more relevant to the organizational data or information.
Yeah. So if we think about what we're trying to do, ultimately is to enable everyone to be more efficient, more productive, and drive more value, right? Remove the drudgery of what they're doing day in, day out, so that they can use their skills and expertise to support and drive the best value for the organization.
I'm just wondering, is there any differences between how Microsoft is having a vision about AI and what you yourself as an individual, who might be a father, who might be a member of family, who might be being an employee, how do you think that's quite different from what Microsoft is saying?
Yeah, so the possibilities with AI are very broad, right? In the work context, we're really talking about those business processes and how work gets done, right? And that's really what Copilots and agents are about in the broader enterprise landscape. Of course, I use Copilot personally as well for many situations at home. I was sharing a story just the other day with some of my colleagues. I've got 2 little girls at home. They have very strong opinions about, how they like to get entertained and the movies they're willing to watch when we're doing family movie nights. Lots of very specific constraints based on their mood, and very hard for me to find the right ones. Copilot is great at helping me kind of provide all the constraints and specifics of what we're looking for and giving me some suggestions. So lots of different scenarios, both personally as well as across work, to really leverage the power of what generative AI can do.
What was that movie that Copilot suggested?
I'm trying to remember which one it was. I can look it up. It was something Royal Society of second something or other. It was something I'd never heard of, but it found it for me.
Do let us know offline.
It will do.
And I feel like when we do this interview, I feel like I have to address and have to ask you this question. So a few weeks ago, there's an interview with CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and there's a bold claim from Satya, and then the internet just go crazy, right? The headlines will go, Microsoft CEO says SaaS will dead. SaaS is dying in a few years, or AI or agent will replace the current business application. So in this sense, I kind of try to combine your current role, and like doing Dataverse and all the vision that you have for AI. What do you think about? What's your statement about, or what's your opinion on the statement that the CEO of Microsoft says that thing?
Yeah, so there's a lot of context or details embedded in the statement that he's making, but really I think what it's getting at is the reimagination of what business applications looks like in this AI future. Right? How does AI and generative AI in particular reinvent what CRM, ERP, HR, IT management look like across an organization? It's not going to look the same as what it did previously in the world of what we've had historically. And so that's, I think, what he's really getting at, right? This idea that we're going to reimagine and build out this agentic world that supports the different business functions that exist in these SaaS applications today, that can really support the broader organization be more efficient and effective. How these business processes run is going to be very different, leveraging AI, but all of that is then going to come back through this Copilot interface, providing us that UI for AI, organizing the work that happens and providing every employee across every organization the ability to be efficient running these processes in a different way than what the way they have historically, right? Because they have that universal canvas of what's happening across the broader landscape and how to run those business processes forward in a more dynamic way.
I want to be more like realistic or more like realization. Of course, like we cannot predict the future, but I want to know like I want to know, in your opinion or in your vision, what do you see the practical or one or two example of so-called that agent will become the next SaaS, or SaaS will no longer exist because of agent? Is it looking like everyone has a computer now, everyone has a Copilot, and then if you want to send email, you have an agent. If you want to update customer data, you have another agent. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so I think if you think about what's happening is we're decomposing a lot of these different business processes and turning those into agents. So if you look at something like the business solutions that we have from Microsoft with Dynamics 365, right? Great examples are some of the things that we've done with some of our sales agents, where as part of the meeting or meeting prep, it gives you all that information about who is it that you're about to meet, what are some of the top things on their mind, really preparing you to be effective going into that meeting. Part of the meeting, you can provide and share a lot of that context, track what's happening, and then give you a lot of the follow-ups that you need. Right? That's different than the way today the business process would run. Today, if you were to do that, it would be you go into your CRM, you look up a bunch of this information, go prepare yourself for that meeting so that you can have the right discussion. You take notes during the meeting, bring that back into your CRM. And so the way this happens now through these agentic experiences is you have these autonomous systems sitting there participating and working side by side with you, supporting you through that journey to ultimately so that you can ultimately spend more time focused on how best to support the customer in what they're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. I guess this kind of leads into what we're getting into this interview is, while we like younger generation, I wouldn't say young, like younger generation, right? Younger generation, we are trying to figure. For sure. Yeah, I think a lot of anxiety around on the internet is that is AI gonna replace our job? Are we losing our job because of AI? But and all the answer that we're hearing is that we are coexisting with AI, or we are leveraging AI. Is the one without the skill of using AI will be replaced? Well, those kind of things. I just want to know, in your opinion, from what do you suggest, like the younger generation, how do we coexist, or what's the best way for younger generation to learn or to adapt AI, or what is the best skill sets or this characteristic that you think we should obtain or keep practicing on?
Yeah, of course, obviously understanding how AI works and how it participates and supports the work and the business processes that you're executing on is going to be important, right? The business process needs to continue to exist. There's going to be cases where human intervention is still required. It's really there to augment and support and remove, we use the word drudgery a lot, but this idea that the toil or the overhead where you're not really maximizing the skills and capabilities that you have, and instead spending time doing the mundane things that really we can use technology to go solve. And so when we think about the skills that are required, it's still that creativity, that analytical thinking, to really think about how best to support, whatever the business process is, that human interaction, communications, that will still be required. Every part of business is still going to have human-to-human interaction, as well as the interactions that are going to be supported by technology. And so it's going to be finding and understanding how best to utilize those cognitive skills and capabilities that have always existed, and how best to apply them more deeply to the problems at hand.
Do you think there is a difference between how AI agent can be facilitative between information workers as well as people who are having jobs that are more hands-on or practical, say for example a nurse?
Yeah, so I think that because the power of generative AI really is multimodal, it's able to support really every type of role in every single organization, right? Whether it's speech, text, images, videos, these models continue to get more and more sophisticated, and because we've got technology that makes it possible to run these on your phone or access them from your phone, from a device. Really, every single person in every single organization in every single industry, really around the world, will be able to benefit from being able to use this technology in the work that they're doing.
So in the sense that there will be more and more people would benefit from the power of AI or agents. Now, because we are I'm not sure if you see one of the advertisement on the constructing building says that hey ChatGPT, help me build this building. Right, it's kind of like sarcasm to AI, AI is not going to replace everyone's job. They cannot, build a building, right? So in your opinion, you're saying that because the models keep improving, there will be more and more occupations going to be benefit from AI?
Yeah, I think certainly, what we continue to see even today, right? If we look at what exists across Azure AI Foundry, 1,800 different models that support, obviously the ones that we have from OpenAI, as well as other open source models, as well as industry and task specific models. And these are all going to continue to exist and we'll continue to see innovation and new models that will be specialized in various different roles and responsibilities that will support different roles and occupations, making them more efficient and effective at doing what they need to.
Got it.
We talk about skills, so we want to quote another really famous CEO in the world, Jensen Huang. He actually said that the future generation do not need to learn coding anymore. What's your opinion in this?
I would say that is a continuation of what we've been doing for generations now when it comes to software development. Right? If we think about the history of software development, we started super low level in terms of how software was written, and through years and years, we've continued to add layers of abstraction and simplifying what development looks like, right? These higher order languages, ultimately getting to things like .NET with frameworks and libraries, then the advent of low-code platforms like the Power Platform and Microsoft, further simplifying and making it more approachable. What we're seeing with the power of AI is that we can further empower more people to develop and solve their own problems, because now they can use natural language and describe what it is they're trying to achieve. And the AI can support them, again, through these autonomous agents that are experts at specific parts of building out end-to-end solutions so that they can solve these problems on themselves. So I'd say it's not that software development goes away, it changes to benefit from what the technology is capable of doing.
If you can add one subject or a course into the education for everyone, what would that be?
Oh my, that's an excellent question. I would say I would pivot on, the trustworthy aspects of AI. How do you build and leverage AI in a way that people can rely and trust and ensure that it is behaving and operating the way it needs? And this is something we've taken very seriously at Microsoft with a lot of the investments we've been making in security and privacy and responsible AI for AI safety. And I think that's going to be critical as we continue to evolve and reimagine how work gets done using AI to ensure that everyone, as they're leveraging these capabilities, can trust and know that the AI is working with them and supporting them and not trying to do anything abusive or harm.
I think for trustworthy for AI, it's not just the subjects for kids, right? It's actually everyone's task right now, right? So what do you think is the key point of, we bear in mind if AI can be wrong, AI can be hallucinating. What do you think is the most important things that we should focus on when it comes to AI at work?
Yeah, so a lot of that comes down to one is understanding what the technology can do, how it does it, and how best to put the guardrails on it. So when we think about what we've done with Copilot Studio and building out these autonomous agents, we've provided an infrastructure where you can instruct and provide the guardrails on how you want that agent to operate, so that you can set specifically what actions or data that it should leverage as part of its decision-making and execution process. The security principles around who has access to what subsets of the context that's being utilized to run that process so that it can do that effectively. And so I would say a lot of this is going to be about, one, having the commitment and understanding of what the technology is trying to do and how to ensure that we're putting trust into the AI and how we're leveraging it. But two is also how you utilize the capabilities within the infrastructure to ensure that you're fulfilling those commitments from a security, privacy, and safety perspective. And so again, what we've done, if you look at, across Copilot and agents and even the AI stack that we have at Microsoft, is we've really exposed a lot of those core capabilities so that you can embed and put your own policies across security, privacy, and safety into the solutions that you build and validate them and understand how your system is going to react based on different responses or different inputs coming into the system.
I think these are more from the enterprise perspective, right? The big organization that, they need security, they need privacy, the policy stuff, right? But then if we want it come down to individuals if we personally want to use AI, how do we define or how do we differentiate that this task should go to AI, this guy should not go to AI? Or what do you think, as an individual, personal-wise, how do we draw the line between
Yeah, I think it's understanding the intent of what you're trying to achieve, how much value is the expertise that you as an individual are bringing in, adding to that specific situation, and really kind of balancing between those two, the ramifications of getting it right and wrong to move the system forward, right? And so there's going to be lots of things that are, I don't want to say mission critical, but surgery, for instance. Like I don't envision AI taking over anytime soon.
I cannot imagine AI cutting my heart and then see, you got cancer, right?
Yeah, or things that require emotional support, counseling and things like that. That's not something that I necessarily see AI taking over. It can certainly support, provide guidance and advice based on the research that's out there. But sometimes that human-to-human connection will be required in those situations, and that's where perhaps it's not about delegating that to AI, but really continuing to have that human-to-human connection.
Is there one task that you would really say, oh, thank God AI exists?
There's a lot, in fact, that I do. Just one. I mean, it's a cheesy one, but I'll throw it out there because every time I share it with people, they immediately go, "Oh yeah, I should do that." So for folks that maybe aren't in technology as much, or certainly at the scale of Microsoft, we have acronyms galore. Right? We have so many acronyms across every product and every domain that we operate in, and I'll be sitting in meetings, hear lots of new acronyms that I've not heard before. Copilot is fantastic at just understanding what those acronyms mean and walking me through and getting me quickly up to speed on the definition, what it means, and really in the context of Microsoft, right? It's not just what does the acronym mean to the broader world, but it puts it in the context of what's happening within my organization and making it relevant to me.
I guess this somehow solved the question when I was joined the workforce, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what is Active Directory? What is CSP?
AAD.
Yeah, what is Azure, right? So those things if back then I have Copilot, I'll definitely ask and then problem solve. But now I have to open a podcast to solve this problem, right? But so yeah, who knows? I think we have enough formal talk, right?
Okay.
The formal stuff. So I want to we prepare a little game
Okay.
for you, and then you mentioned because we are a lot of questions talking about whether this task should go to AI or not go to AI, or maybe you'll do it yourself. So the question is the game is called Triple A's. Three Triple A stands for AI, assistance, and I'll do it myself.
Okay.
Right. So.
By assistance, you mean like a human assistant?
A human assistant.
Yeah, like your secretary.
Okay.
Yeah. So the game is really simple. Basically, Kerr will file a lot of different tasks to
Okay.
you, and we want to have your first instinct when you hear
Okay.
this task, whether you think this task goes to AI or go to your assistant, or I'll just do it myself.
Okay.
Right? So make sure you get it.
Yes.
That's the
essence.
triple A's, right?
Okay.
Right. So for example, Kirsty will go.
Finding document.
Oh, AI all the way.
Yeah. Okay. And then.
Book a meeting.
Book a meeting, combination of AI and assistant. I think
You have to pick one.
I have to pick one. Right now, I'd say assistant.
Okay. Prepare an interview.
I have to pick just one. I would definitely use multiple here. Prepare, I would use AI to get me going.
Okay, so you know how the games work, right? So we'll have 10 or 20 tasks, and we
Okay.
need your first response, and then we'll evaluate your results, right?
Okay.
All right. So
Ready?
okay, let's get started.
Make a PowerPoint for all hands.
I'll do it myself.
Great. You get the point.
Prepare annual budget plan.
AI.
Review the project timeline.
What am I doing with the review?
To check and to evaluate if that's accurate.
AI.
Review sales pipeline. This is the hard one.
This is the hard one.
It wouldn't be just one. It would be multiple. I'll do it myself.
I'll do it myself.
Repair your house's pipeline.
I'll definitely do it myself.
Get your morning coffee.
I'll do it myself.
Schedule a board meeting.
Assistant.
Schedule a board game gathering.
AI.
Oh, read email from your team.
Is it a simple mail? A long mail?
Well, a long email.
Multiple emails.
AI.
Read email from Satya.
Ooh, you're trying to trick me here. I'll do it myself.
Okay, draft an email to Satya.
It would be AI and do it myself. It would be both.
Makes sense.
I'll give you that.
Okay, call your mother.
Could I have the AI do that? No, I'll do it myself. I love my mom.
Call an Uber.
Right now I do it myself, but I think that'll change.
Troubleshoot your computer.
AI.
Book a meeting with Jensen Huang.
Assistant.
And book a restaurant with Jensen Huang.
Yeah, I'll use AI to figure out where and then the assistant to schedule.
Okay, write a birthday card to your kids.
This is a trick one because I've used AI to write the card for me before. So AI to help me figure out the right way to make it funny, and then I'll handwrite it myself.
Okay, and then teach your client what Dataverse is.
I would use AI for that.
Okay, the last one, teach your parent what Dataverse is.
I would have to, I think, do that myself.
Okay. Got it.
I really love the differences here, like the little accents between each of these. Let's review the answers.
So I think we prepare around 20 tasks. And then and our observation right here is you don't really trust your assistants. It's either yourself or AI, right?
That's definitely not true. I don't want to hear see them hear that and believe that's the case.
I was really curious. And what was your decision making when it comes to like I would do it myself or go to AI?
The reality is, for many of these, it would be a combination.
Yes.
Right? I would say none of them are one or the other. In many cases, I would probably start with the AI, or my assistant would start with the AI, and then there'd be some aspect of what I would take on based on what the AI has come out with. So things like the all hands, like I'd probably go prepare some scaffolding of some core things I want to cover, use AI to help go collect and put together a lot of the information, scaffold out the content, and then do some final refinement of how I want that story to be communicated. And so and that's where when we go back to some of the earlier discussion of, AI and jobs, it really is this idea that the AI is going to support a lot of these functions. It's not necessarily going to be something that fully takes over everything. Some of these, yes, maybe AI will fully take over, but in many cases it's going to be AI is going to support me and what I'm trying to achieve with those specific tasks.
Do you think if we ask the same set of questions, perhaps 1 year or 5 years later, do you think that most of the answers will actually shift to the AI side?
I think many of them will continue to be a combination of the three, because there was always going to be, in many of these cases, things that you're going to want a little bit of that human touch and creativity pulled into. And so I think I don't know if many of those cases will ever be fully automated, maybe except for writing the birthday card for my daughter. Right?
You had hesitation there.
I didn't want her to find out how I did it.
Another, do you think, because we try to trick you, yeah, we did. But then the task is really the mixture between personal task and corporate tasks, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so just wonder, when you deciding if it goes to AI or go yourself, is the characteristic of the job matters? Meaning that, would you prefer that, I'll push more tasks to AI if it's personal, while corporate, they'll more myself, or
No, I don't think it was that at all, right? It was more what is ultimately what I'm trying to achieve, and how much oversight and control do I want, right? So when we talked about like the team email, if it's a really long email and I'm just trying to get an understanding of what's going on and I'm not necessarily an active participant, AI is great at summarizing the email, getting me up to speed, and so absolutely using AI. If it's something that's a deeper decision that really requires a discussion and some some analysis of what's going on. AI will certainly help us have that, gather a lot of the information, but there's going to be some aspects of, what the discussion that we want to have that I'd want to be a more active participant in. And that's why I say, again, some of these, it's really, there's nuances in all of these cases.
I just want to dive deeper. Like, if your daughter actually find out that you use AI to write her birthday card, I just wonder, I'm guessing you will feel a little bit embarrassed. I want to dive deeper into the reason why we actually will feel embarrassed. Do you think it's because we should not use AI to replace these kind of emotional touch? Or do you think there's other reasons why we would sometimes feel embarrassed, or when we see an ad that's written by AI, we would kind of feel that's quite weird?
Honestly, I would tell my daughter, because we actually go and play around with Copilot all the time. When she's got specific things that she's trying to figure out, we'll just pull it up and go see what we can figure out using Copilot. And so I think she already knows what happens behind the scenes, so I wouldn't be embarrassed in that case. I think there's, we're all going through an adjustment period. The technology is different than anything we've ever seen before, and it's evolving so rapidly. I think there's a level of trust that really, that everyone is still building with the capabilities of this technology. And really that's, going back to some of the conversation we were having earlier around why we think trustworthy AI is such a critical component of this this platform shift that we're seeing in AI. It is so important, is because it's clear that it's not just going to be something that people immediately flip on the switch and adopt, but we are seeing, that it's increasingly becoming something that folks are getting more and more comfortable with as they see that it's not trying to take over jobs, it's not trying to come in and take over the world, but it's actually there to support and augment, and help us be more efficient with what we're doing. I think there was a study, even within Hong Kong specifically, the workforce index was showing how even further ahead than most of the world we're seeing Hong Kong being in terms of being able to adopt and the willingness to adopt AI here. And so it's fantastic, just this idea that as people are building confidence in the technology, what it's capable of, how to utilize it, how more and more people are feeling less embarrassed about being able to use it to do this work.
Got it. We really want to respect your time, but we still have one more last question to ask you. Is to based on our the main concept of our podcast, is we want to know what's the things that you wish you know earlier early in your career.
It's a great question. So I would say the biggest thing that for me and that I wish I had known earlier in my career is really about the fact that the learning never stops, right? Especially when you're working in a space like technology that's constantly evolving and coming up with new innovation. So a lot of, and it's funny because when I was interning way back in the day, I remember one of the full-time employees saying, you went to college to learn how to learn. When you're working, that's when you're actually learning. And as I reflect back on that quote, every now and then I think about it as like, yes, because I am constantly learning now what's going on, how to utilize the technology, the experiences, and what I can take away from it. And so the big thing I would say is just embrace the discomfort that comes with whatever you're doing, learn from it, and keep finding ways to add new tools to your toolbox.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nirav. That's all for it. And I appreciate you too.
Awesome.
Come to our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.